All right, so I'm going to stick the agenda in the chat for you all, so you can follow along there. And as always, the first thing on our agenda is just sharing any introductions for our new folks or anything that you all have going on that you want to share with the full group. There are several on the agenda for you already, so take a second to look at those. Let us know if you have any questions, and then also feel free to share anything you've got coming up that you want the full collaborative to know about.
Hello, my name is Angie Sproles. This is the first time I have been on this call, so I am with Goodwill Industries of Geneva and just happy to be here and looking forward to learning more. Goodwill of Geneva works with people who have barriers to employment, such as those with disabilities, people who are involved in the criminal justice system, as well as people age 55 and older, and just looking forward to get involved with you guys. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Star Bradley. I'm the director at the Johnson City, Washington County Family Justice Center. And what we do there,
Hey everybody, I'm Andy, Andy Hall, and I am the Business Development Manager with Groups Recover Together. And I just wanted to let you all know that we have an office that's open in Johnson City now. We are still all virtual, but moving into in-person meetings, and Groups is an outpatient opioid treatment program. So, and even when we get back into office, we're going to keep virtual groups. So if you know of anybody that is outside of the area and needs help, or even in Johnson City, we will eventually be able to get them into the office, but we can take people from places where we have brick and mortar offices, and then also anybody from all over Tennessee, since we've got the virtual option. So it's nice to see all your faces.
Anybody else have anything they want to share or an introduction they want to do before we move into our speaker? All right, well, we will go ahead and move into our sharing session. Really excited today to have Kristina Peters here with us. She is the Workforce Employer Coordinator for the Caring Workplaces Initiative, and she's going to share a little bit more with us about that program and how we can get involved. So thanks, Kristina, for being here.
Thank you for having me, Jillian. Let me see, I might do a PowerPoint, a brief PowerPoint. Let me see if I can share my screen here. You don't want to see all this mess, I'm sure, but I've been having trouble, unfortunately, opening some of our PowerPoints. Okay. I do not see that. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on just a second.
While you're getting situated, I'm going to share something if that's okay.
Yeah.
I almost forgot, Nash couldn't be with us today, but she wanted me to share. She is hosting a luncheon for the Carter Compassion Center and wanted to make sure everybody knew about that event. So it'll just be an opportunity for any organizations or anybody in Carter County that's really serving folks in any way to come and meet the Carter Compassion Center folks and kind of learn about their mission and ways that we can all work together to really meet the needs of Carter County folks. So I'm going to put the link to that in the chat. There's an RSVP, so she can make sure to have lunch for you. But we would love to have you attend that. It's on June 6th at 11 at the Carter Compassion Center building, which is beside the train, the old chamber building. So anyway, I just want to make sure I shared that so I don't get in trouble with Nash for forgetting. And then we'll turn it back over to you, Kristina.
Thank you. Okay, can everyone see on the screen? Is my PowerPoint up? Okay.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Kristina Peters, and I am the Workforce Employer Coordinator with the Caring Workplaces Initiative. I work for the First Tennessee Development District, and am very excited to have been asked to present today. So we'll get started. The Caring Workplaces Initiative was actually the brainchild of my boss, Lottie Ryans, and several community members that are part of our learning cohort. You know, many of you, I'm sure, are like me and get on several of these types of calls and hear different programs and different presenters. And much like that, there was a group discussion about the workforce in our Northeast region and how the opioid epidemic had affected our workforce. And so out of that, this learning cohort was kind of developed. And the First Tennessee Development District, along with the help of their partners here on the learning cohort, wrote a grant for a U.S. Department of Labor, a federal Department of Labor work grant. And work stands for workforce opportunities for rural communities. So this grant basically targets rural areas and the impact of substance abuse on those areas, and promotes basically building an ecosystem within our Northeast region to address the issues of substance misuse in the workforce. And my job is basically to go out and to recruit business and industry and companies, everybody from a mom and pop 2-person to like a Snap-on or a large manufacturer that has hundreds of employees. But what I do is I recruit them to become recovery friendly, and they go through a certification process to do that. And when they hire, when they agree to partner with us, what we also do is we provide them an additional pipeline of potential employees who are from our recovery and or justice communities, justice involved communities. So those people that have substance use disorder and or a criminal history. So as you can imagine, many employers who once possibly would not have considered hiring from this population, or maybe their policies prevented them from doing so. Now, because of the Great Resignation and our workforce labor shortage, people are really starting to think outside of the box. And I always say it was perfect timing for a program such as this, because although there is still a lot of stigma associated with substance use disorder and criminal justice involvement, it's really prime time where people are starting to be more receptive to hiring people from these communities. So our partners, we subcontract with Ballot Health and their peer navigation program. They have a program that's called Peer Help. And that Peer Help program, I know many people on this call are probably already familiar with the term certified peer recovery specialist or a recovery specialist. For those of you that aren't familiar, basically these are individuals that have lived addiction experience, that are in recovery, have been in recovery for a minimum of 2 years, many of them for much longer than that. And they go through a certification and a training process whereby they become certified to navigate or help other people that are wanting to be in recovery or are in recovery. So we call them peer navigators. So I'll talk a little bit more about how we work with them in just a minute, but we also work with ETSU Addiction Science Center. Some of you may be familiar with Dr. Angela Hageman, Rob Pack, Dr. Pack at the Addiction Science Center. So Angela and her team provide all of our employers that sign on to be caring workplaces, they provide policy review for them. They help them create more recovery-friendly drug and alcohol policies. They also are a training partner, also as part of the certification requirement for an employer. There's a requirement for employees to be trained annually, and for the leadership of the identified leadership teams of those businesses and industry to be trained. And Dr. Hageman and other people are involved in helping us do some of those trainings. And then, of course, we have the American Job Center. The American Job Center is kind of, I love my folks at the American Job Center. I affectionately call them our Match.com because they are the ones that help us track our clients, help us make the matches between a client participant and an employer. They do that on the state website, employment website, Jobs 14. So they're very instrumental in helping us track and keep up with the data and our successes for this grant. I might be preaching to the choir on some of these statistics. Some of you may already know this, but 75% of individuals with addiction and or substance use disorders are already in the workforce. So a lot of times when I meet with employers and they say, no, we don't have that problem, we don't want to hire people from that pipeline or what have you, this statistic is very important to share with them, because I just tell them, I understand where you're coming from. However, you may already have individuals on your current workforce that are suffering, and we could provide services and resources for your existing workforce. What I also try to really, these statistics are really targeted for recruitment of employers, because I tell them, and everybody knows, it costs a lot of money to replace employees, to advertise, to hire, to train. So just the cost alone of, let's say, for instance, you have an employee who tests positive on a random drug screen, and your policies say, well, it's automatic termination. Well, there might be lots of things going on with that individual. And for a company just to kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater, you're going to cost your company a lot of money. Whereas we can come in and provide recovery solutions, treatment. Our navigators can work with that individual and the HR person with that company, and they can come up with a plan to help keep that person employed. So that's just one of the things we do. Not only do we offer a pipeline of new employees, but we also take care of a company's current workforce and current employees for retention purposes. So if an employee, or I'm sorry, an employer wants to participate and become a caring workplace, there's no cost associated with joining us. And there are 3 levels of employer engagement. Basically, the first is to just become a participant, and that's simply just to sign on and say, yes, I want to be involved in this. The second process would happen within the following year, and it's the certification process whereby we conduct trainings. Like I mentioned, we would do the policy review, we would do employee training, leadership training, and just some things like that, and that would certify your company. And then for overachievers, we actually built in a GOAT certification, which is really just for companies that like participate above and beyond what you have to do for your regular certification. So again, I just kind of went over these. To be a participant, you sign 2 documents. To be certified, we do the policy review and some training. And then gold certification, if your company wants to do additional trainings or do community events, that sort of thing. This is our current list of employer participants. I saw Angie Sproils earlier, and Angie was instrumental in helping us bring Goodwill on board. We partner with them, and that's a very exciting partnership for us. So Carter County is really one of our premier counties right now, in that we have Wright's Green, we have Bob's Dairy Land up in Roan Mountain. Like I said, we take mom and pop shops all the way to manufacture to big companies. We have Colorworks, we have Sosner Still Stamps. And just this morning, I'm proud to announce that we just signed on Oliver's Woodworking. So currently, and then Goodwill also has a retail shop, a very nice retail shop in Carter County. So currently we have 6 employers just in this county alone. This is BJ Gott. I don't necessarily know that I'm going to play this video for everybody, but BJ is with Right Screen. Right Screen was one of the first employers to sign up to become a caring workplace, and BJ has quickly become kind of our champion. He goes with us, he travels. He's definitely a gold certification employer because he helps us promote this initiative. So let me stop sharing here for just a second. So basically, in a nutshell, that's what we do. We are trying to build out that ecosystem in the Northeast region by helping with stigma reduction, trainings. We very much partner with our anti-drug coalitions. We work closely with currently our Sullivan County Anti-Drug Coalition and the Washington County Inside Alliance with Action Coalition. So I'm thrilled to be invited to speak to the Carter County Coalition, and would love to partner and help in any way I can. We do offer all of our employers a resource toolkit, which is basically I go around and I speak to all my anti-drug coalitions that we work with and get brochures and pamphlets and resource guides and information, and help deliver that in a toolkit, again, as you will, a toolkit to all of our employers so they have those resources. So if Jillian, if you have any resources or events coming up or anything like that, would be happy to share that information with our employers. If anybody on this call happens to be an employer or work for an agency or organization that you think would be a good, that caring workplaces would be a good fit for you, please reach out to me. I will put my email address in the chat, and if anybody has any questions, be happy to answer those.
Kristina, you had one question in the chat that said, is there a local number for the American Job Center? Do clients have to go, I guess, go to the American Job Center in the county they live in?
Okay, so that's a great question. The way that we make those matches, the answer is no. So we get our clients from local county jails 90 days pre-release. We also get them from local probation agencies. We get them from MAT clinics. We get them from the Veterans Administration employment. We get them from all over. Anywhere that any agency or organization that deals with individuals in the recovery and or justice involved community, they can reach out to us, and then we assign them a navigator. And we have 3 navigators through Ballot Health, and the navigators each cover 1 to 2 counties each. And the navigators, when they onboard, for lack of a better term, when they bring somebody onto the caring workplaces, what they do is they get them enrolled and register them in Jobs 410. So they register, they help them with resumes and that sort of thing. They get that individual registered in Jobs 410. And then on my end, when I'm working with the employers, we ask that the employers register on Jobs 410 and they post any openings on that website. And then what happens is when an employer posts openings and they contact us and say, we have X, Y, and Z positions, I reach out to our navigators and say, do you have anybody that is interested in these positions that are qualified? And then the navigator reaches over to the American Job Centers and does what we call a job referral match. They request a match be done. And that's why, again, I call them our match.com, because they will match that individual with an employer, and then then the navigator and the employer will start working on like setting up interviews and that sort of thing to try to get that individual hired. So to answer that question, I can get the American Job Center number, but the clients or individuals do not necessarily have to go to an American Job Center that of the county they live in. They can walk into any job center and get help, but usually our navigator helps them do all of that. Build out again this recovery friendly ecosystem. So we're trying to reduce stigma and bring trainings and awareness and just make people more understanding, if you will, of people with substance use disorder. So if somebody tells us that they cannot hire from our pipeline, that's fine. They can still be a
increasingly harder to find folks. And when you do, a lot of times they can't pass drug tests and they're a drug-free workforce. So it sounds like that may be a good connection.
Definitely.
Okay.
If you want to send me an email, Jill, and then we can start a conversation outside of this.
Thank
I
you.
can answer any questions. I can come speak to your board or you or whoever.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
And say hello to your mother.
I sure will. Thank you.
I've just unmuted myself and I will start my video. Kristina, you're a rock star. Of course, you worked for another rock star, Lottie, and the whole idea of the ecosystem just thrills me because I heard about cohort 1 and cohort 2 of what Appalachian Regional Commission has been funding with the INSPIRE program, innovation supporting partnerships in recovery ecosystems. And we're just a little smidge in what we're trying to do to promote an upcoming conference to see if we have enough mojo to just focus on veterans. There's about 41,000 in the region. So I just put in the box that Match.com sounds so cool because, it's the right job for the veterans. They're coming out of something that they loved, perhaps in the military, and just giving them any job may not work. So that's why I put in, the formation of a veterans business collective in the Tri-Cities, and maybe the idea that this would be, more of a perfect match. And then, of course, the ecosystem is going to be everything from housing and transportation to food insecurity to spiritual needs to social needs to daycare. You can go on and look at all these things. So comments from you and the rest of our audience would be most helpful now at this stage that we're starting to pick up steam a little bit. Just encouragement, discouragement, I don't care. I mean, I picked myself off the mat so many times with this stuff already in just 4 months that, I've got a thick skin.
Well, Tony, thank you. And I did get your voicemail this morning. I was going to reach back out to you. Yeah, veterans. So working with the American Job Centers, as you know, Tony, they have specific people, Scott Bond being one of them, that works with veterans and trying to place veterans in employment. And there's also, the VA has employment facilitators. I apologize, I don't know their correct term or title, but the veterans, to me, we're always talking about marginalized groups of people, substance use and formerly incarcerated veterans that, especially those that have spent a career in the military, and then they come out and they're in civilian life and they're like, now what do I do? So, and a lot of people also know that unfortunately, veterans make up a large group of substance use disorder, or they're affected by mental health, homelessness. So I think we're all running in the same arenas, and we're all doing the same kind of employment work, if you will. Just trying to help people and give them a hand up, So Tony, anything that I can do, let me know. I'll do what I can do to help you in your endeavors as well.
Well, I want to throw out women and children because it seems like, we have not focused enough on the family, and see if we can incorporate that into these calls with regard to those that have mental health issues, whether they be veterans or others that turn to drugs and turn to other addictive substances, lead it to other people.
Good thought.
I had raised my hand, but I'll go ahead and jump in since it may be that it's hard to see that with so many different people in the room. But are we really talking about an overarching theme of mentorship? We're looking at, I work with Little Millwood Elementary School, and we're concerned as their 8th graders matriculate into a much larger Hampton High School. So, at that point, we're looking at the emotional issues that arise, and can mentorship be the key to helping that transition? So it seems to me as if many of us are talking about different aspects of a larger issue of capacity for mentorship.
I definitely I definitely think that, and I know that the Carter County Anti-Drug Coalition, one of the things that they really focus on is early prevention. I actually work with adults, excuse me. So I was thrilled when I learned that, we have there in our 8 counties, every county has and it does speak to as far as like prevention and education and information. Um, I think that's a very beneficial resource, especially for youngsters.
Anything else for Kristina before we move on?
Jillian, I've also put our website, it's caringworkplaces.org. And my email address, I think Jane, thank you, Jane. She's also put my email address. If anybody's interested, please reach out. I can answer any more questions or come speak or whatever you need from me. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you sharing today. Before we move into breakout sessions, I know we had several folks hop on a little bit later, so I wanted to make sure nobody else has anything they want to share with the full group or any other questions before we move on. So anybody else have anything to share?
Jillian, it's Norma. Let me see if there's my face. I wanted to remind everyone, if you didn't already know, the Johnson City Press had an announcement of our event, Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America, this coming Saturday, June the 4th at 10 in the morning at the public library in Gray. At 10, and we'd love to have you. And if you can wear orange, we are all, many of us, probably everyone on this call is wanting to do something about having more sense in this country concerning gun violence. So we'd love to have you this coming Saturday at 10 a.m. at the Gray branch of the public library, Washington County Public Library. Thank you.
I'm sorry, for this, do you also have a Zoom option as well, or even a recording of the meeting?
I believe it will be recorded. Would you like for me to send it to this group?
Yeah, I would love for that. My friends in the Youth Coalition have been really talking about this issue, and I think even as minors, we'd really like to take some of this into our own hands.
Wonderful. I'll be glad to send it to Julian then. Thank you for being interested.
I was just going to add that my director spoke earlier, Star Bradley. I'm Jennifer Douglas, and I'm with the Family Justice Center of Johnson City, Washington County. However, we also serve Carter County. I realize right now, unfortunately, there are few resources for Carter County when it comes to domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking. With that being said, I am always happy to come out if anyone would like to do our domestic violence one-on-one and just create awareness of what to look for with domestic violence. Also, if anyone wants any resources in their businesses, I'm always happy to bring out pamphlets, comp cards, and any information on our resources. So I'll put my email address in the chat box again. And if anyone is interested, I'm more than happy to come out to your business and leave some information.
Thank you.
Could you please put your email? Could you please put your email in the chat?
Yes, I'm doing that right now. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything before we move on?
Hey, Jillian. This is Will with the Counter Drug Task Force. Sorry I didn't introduce myself earlier. I was driving the Dash Away trailer to another coalition today. I didn't want to try to think of what I wanted to say while I'm driving to hit other cars driving down the interstate. But I'm Will. This is Empathy with the Tennessee Army National Guard Task Force, Air Force, I'm Army. We are an organization that's here to help coalitions in any capacity necessary to educate, facilitate, and actually just mentor whatever y'all need. And I think I sent an email out that we're going to be out in the area. Me and Swanson, our supervisor, we'll be out there in the Region 1 area from the, we changed the dates. Hold on, give me a second. The 8th through the 10th now, instead of the 6th through the 10th. Y'all have any questions for us?
Thank you for being here. If you want to shoot me an email, I would love to set up a time for you to meet with us and kind of learn a little bit more about what y'all have got going on.
Yeah, sure, will do.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything before we move on? Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and open our breakout rooms. Just as a reminder, or to let folks know who may not know, we have 3 different committees. The first one is substance use and trauma. The second one is action and awareness. And the third is data. So any of those that you want to be part of, feel free to join. I'm going to go ahead and open them now, and then we'll come back together about 1:25 and hear updates from all 3 committees.
Jillian, are you?
Well, if she's not back, we can just go ahead and have the updates for Committee A, please. Whoever representing Committee A.
I think that was Julian.
Okay, this is Brooke. I was able to jump on for just a minute. I'm currently driving, so I don't have my camera on, but I will update what we discussed. We completed our strategic planning, just assigning who was taking stake in the different activities and identifying resources and ways of measurement and all of that. We also updated about the event that we had for children's mental health in May, where we partnered with the Elizabeth and Carter County Library, and we had different members contribute coping skills, different coping skills for children, and we put them all in the toolbox that the kids were able to take with them. We dressed up as Encanto
Yes, I did. Committee B, the action committee, that's the same thing. We finished up a strategic plan, filled everything in, and kind of gone over the fact. I've been in touch, started to get in touch with over the 130 plus churches in Carter County to get them on board as a faith-based community to try and break that stigma within our churches. Shannon has working with a contact at the Elizabethton schools for a teen mentoring tutor program to get kids being able to tutor other kids within high school. We also talked about contact 211 and the Unitas platforms, and also just reaching out to get that social media, the websites and the resources of the programs that are in the area. Because if I don't know it, but I know that Shannon knows a resource, we should be able to have those resources available to the whole collaborative, every member that's on this call today, and those that are not with us. We also talked about getting into the schools to do drug prevention presentations once the schools start back up. Maybe getting in there and maybe doing 1, 2, 3 a day, or either one a day and spend a couple days in the school. But it's just trying to get the message out that addictions are real, recoveries are real, and prevention is the key. But we have to be able to break that stigma. And just with anything, if somebody has been through it, a lot of times that will be able to be that person, or that, not necessarily me, somebody that has been through that situation, that will be able to get that message out where people will actually pay attention to what's being said. Because when you can put a face with something that is happening in their families or with them, they kind of perk up a little bit more and pay attention. But it's breaking the stigma, getting prevention message out there, and just getting Carter County Collaborative at the community events.
All right, thank you, Scott. Committee C?
Yes, so we just met briefly, and first we just discussed that the Tennessee Department of Health sent out a county health council assessment survey to all the health councils. So we filled that out for our Carter County Collaborative. So they'll give us a state survey eventually from the health department. And then we kind of went over our strategic plan and getting started on our activities for our strategic plan. We're really focusing on building out a web page for Carter County Collaborative, and Jillian is graciously, has a page for us on the Carter County Drug Prevention website. So one of us is going to try to get editing access and figure that out. That's going to be a work in progress to edit the website, but that's our goal. And we're trying to work on logos and colors and just really get branding for us, and then kind of have a resource hub for everybody to use. So there'll be more to come with whenever we can get some logos together. If anybody is really good at designing web pages and wants to volunteer to help out for this, that'd be great. Or logos, we'll have some logos to vote on eventually when we get those ready. But that's pretty much all we have.
Well, that sounds awesome. Thank you, Emily. All right, I don't know where Jillian's at, if what's happened there anyway, but it sounds like we've had a pretty good meeting today, and if we have clear hearts and clear minds, I guess everyone will have a beautiful rest of your. Oh, there she is.
There she is.
Sorry. CCDP internet is amazing today. Just amazing. Thanks everybody for being here. Thanks Shannon for closing us out, and we will see you next month.